Good morning. I'm Chief Jeff Stewart of the Goldsboro Police Department. I personally want to thank each of you for showing up here today for this press conference. We're going to be talking about the incidents that took place yesterday at Wayne Community College. Beside me, I think you all know, this is our Sheriff of Wayne County, Larry Pierce. At this time, I would like to introduce Tara Humphreys of the college, the PIO, to deliver a brief statement.
Thank you all again for being with us yesterday and today. On behalf of the Wayne Community College trustees, administration, faculty, and staff, and students, we wish to express our appreciation to our partners in the response community for all they did yesterday, all they're continuing to do today. We are relieved at the apprehension of Mr. Stansel. The college is operating today. It's a day of healing. We will be paying personal tributes to Ron Lane today. And later in the week, we will plan a celebration of his life as is appropriate. Again, many thanks to these folks and to you.
I want to start out by thanking all the law enforcement, EMS, and fire agents who responded throughout eastern North Carolina, and all of those agencies that were on standby. The support came from local, state, and federal agencies across eastern North Carolina, and I'd also like to state the professionalism that I witnessed yesterday from the staff and students at Wayne Community College. As I stated in the last press conference, I now have answers to the questions you asked yesterday. Sergeant Jeremy Sutton, one of my supervisors in the investigative division, is here with us today. He will address and share what he can about the active investigation, and we will have a handout for you. Sergeant Sutton.
Good morning. I'm Sergeant Jeremy Sutton with the Goldsboro Police Department. I'm going to answer a few questions with a brief statement that I've prepared, and then we'll do a few question and answer after this. Yesterday morning at 8:09 a.m., Kenneth Morgan Stansel III entered the print shop located at Wayne Community College, where he shot and killed 44-year-old Ronald Dwight Lane, Jr., who was an employee of Wayne Community College. Mr. Stansel fired at Mr. Lane once with a pistol-grip shotgun. The investigation is ongoing, and it was brought up yesterday as this is being investigated as a possible hate crime. And that aspect will be a focus that our investigators will look at as the investigation moves forward. There was never a hostage situation at Wayne Community College, and I can say with confidence that Mr. Stansel had a calculated plan, and he in fact carried out that plan. After shooting Mr. Lane, Mr. Stansel left the college campus immediately. Mr. Stansel left Wayne County on a motorcycle, and the motorcycle he was operating was located by the North Carolina Highway Patrol, abandoned in the median on Interstate I-95 South in Lumberton, North Carolina, yesterday morning. It is unclear as to how Mr. Stansel traveled from Lumberton to Daytona Beach, where he was arrested this morning at 1:20 a.m. while sleeping on the beach. Mr. Stansel has a court appearance this morning in Volusia County and has an extradition hearing scheduled for tomorrow morning, again in Volusia County. It is our intention to get Mr. Stansel from Florida after the extradition process is finished and bring him back to Wayne County. We hope to be able to accomplish this by the end of the week. With regard to the Alabama prison photo that surfaced, it has been determined that Mr. Stansel has never been incarcerated in Alabama and had no criminal record until yesterday's events. I would now again like to thank the law enforcement officers that responded to the college yesterday, who assisted, as well as the surrounding agencies that sent equipment and personnel, and also for those that offered. It was a concerted effort by local and state agencies, and it came to a resolution that we wanted: the arrest of Mr. Stansel with no one else being injured. At this time, I'll answer a few questions regarding the incident.
Sergeant Sutton, you mentioned a hate crime. What kind of hate crime was involved that you're investigating? What do you mean?
Well, right now, during this investigation, it is being looked at as to if there was a hate crime at all committed. And
Neither one was black. What do you mean? What hate crime component might have been involved?
at this time, I'm not prepared to divulge that information at this point because it is an ongoing investigation.
You have a full list of charges that he might face when he's brought back?
Right now, he's just facing an open count of murder at this time.
Is the victim's sexual orientation, would that be part of the hate crime issue here possibly?
Right now, we're not ready to divulge that information at this time. It's because it's an ongoing investigation.
In an interview that was recorded, the mother of the suspect said that the victim had made a pass at the suspect. Is that something that you guys are looking at?
We're absolutely investigating that possibility. And again, this is an ongoing investigation and will be for quite some time.
The tattoos on the suspect's face may indicate some connections to some white supremacy groups, some gangs. Is that, again, something that you're investigating?
Yes, ma'am. We are looking into the tattoos as well as any affiliation that the suspect may have had
I
as
think we
part
could
of our
clarify
investigation.
one of your questions yesterday is why we delayed on releasing the pictures. In the investigation, we found out that he recently acquired some of those tattoos. So I think that was the concern of the media yesterday. Once Sergeant Sutton in his investigation revealed those photos, that's when we put them out to the media.
When did he get the tattoos?
The facial tattoo is as recent as Saturday. So we were really wanting to get a picture of that facial tattoo out to the press. You know, in the interest of public safety, we wanted to make sure we had the correct photo out there.
Sergeant, when did you extend your search? Last week we heard at 2 p.m.'s update. Yesterday you had confined your search to North Carolina. When did you extend it out of state? How did you go about doing that?
Yesterday morning, once the motorcycle was located on I-95 South in Lumberton, we got in contact with all the law enforcement agencies on the East Coast going down 95 South and got out the information on the suspect and made sure that his picture was available and so that we could have cooperation with all of those agencies as well.
Sergeant, Lane's family said in an interview that Stansel was fired because he brought drugs to the workplace, and this was sort of a retaliation. Do you have any information about that?
I have no information about that, and I haven't heard that to date. I know that Mr. Stansel was not actually an employee, but he was a work-study student with Wayne Community College up until February of this year.
Do you have any indication in terms of their relationship before this incident?
We think it is their relationship is isolated to a supervisor and work-study student.
Did your information lead you to believe that he might be in Florida, or was it just a coincidence that he was violating an ordinance in Volusia County?
No, it was not a coincidence. Throughout the day yesterday, as we were working this case, it was when we found the motorcycle on I-95 South, we automatically knew that, okay, we're headed down south. So with that, once we put out the information to all the agencies in South Carolina and so on to Florida, we would be getting tidbits of information that we had sightings of him, and we were following him down 95 through that.
When did you find that motorcycle?
It was early yesterday morning, around 10 a.m., I believe.
Oh.
I'm not real sure on the time.
But you at 2 p.m. we were hearing that you confined your search to North Carolina.
Well, the motorcycle was found in Lumberton, North Carolina, so we were still inside of North Carolina at that time. Once we started getting sightings further down 95, that's when the search extended beyond.
So was he recently fired from his position or released from the work-study program?
Again, he was no longer a work-study student after February.
Do you know what date?
I do not have the date with me. That would be for Wayne Community College. Again, he was a work-study student, and they don't fire work-study students. You get new work-study students, things of that nature.
Well, was he what was this, a normal, did he cycle naturally out of that job, or was he released for some reason? Maybe the school would be better to speak.
It was,
President Albertson can speak to that, I don't know.
he was dismissed from the program. He was not terminated.
Just for clarification, was he cited in other states down the East Coast?
We were getting calls that someone had seen someone matching his description, so that was leading us down 95.
Have you collected any cyber data, Facebook or social media, indicating his thought process leading up to the shooting?
We are currently working on that as part of our active investigation. We served search warrants yesterday and collected a lot of evidence, and right now our evidence techs are going through that evidence as we speak.
Can you talk about the gun at all? What else can you talk about?
The gun
registered to him? Was it
the gun was a 12-gauge pump shotgun with a pistol grip on it. I'd say it was probably somewhere in about the 3-foot length.
What was it looking?
was it registered? Is it registered?
We have not got that information back yet.
And you say it has not yet been located, though?
That's correct.
Okay.
We do not have the weapon.
Were the
That's good.
tattoos the defining piece of description that helps the police in Florida identify him?
I would definitely think that was an a good indication of who he was.
Right.
And again, I want to thank the media's help for it. Once we gave you those photographs, for pushing them out as quickly as you did. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Sheriff of Wayne County for the closing remarks. Sheriff Pierce.
Thank you. I'm Sheriff Larry Pierce, Wayne County. We'd like to thank you all for being here today. We'd like to thank the public for their input. Once the pictures were released yesterday, we were able to get input from the citizens. Also, we'd like to extend our condolences to the Lane family at this time, and I'd like to also reiterate the thankfulness that we have for the extension of help that we got from all agencies, federal, state, local. We just, everyone worked together so well yesterday, and I want to extend that thankfulness again. And at this time, we'll be closing our press conference, and thank you for being here.
Well, how about President Albertson talking about why he might have been removed or left?
Our PIO, Kim Best, has the handouts for you that will clarify some of the questions that we talked about today. Again, thank you for coming.
Can you comment on that last question about why you would be dismissed from the program? Can anybody speak to that, please?
Kim, may I will absolutely speak to that. Again, work-study students are not employees of any community college. This is a federally funded grant, like any other type of scholarship. In this particular case, Mr. Stinson worked through the end of February. On March the 3rd, he was provided with a document for dismissal for poor attendance. And his hours varied from week to week, usually averaging anywhere between 8.5 to 10 hours, but there had been a fairly substantial amount of absences. We can't do that with our students. We need consistent workers, and that was how that happened.